The best part of your week is about to begin. This is the time where we talk shop, swap stories, and share lessons from our wild adventures in the creative industry. With each and every lovingly crafted episode, we strive to bottle that magic, warm, electric feeling you get after coffee with a new friend or attending a fantastic breakout session at a creative conference. You might start as strangers, but you'll leave as friends. Buckle up, settle in, and get ready for this episode of Making a Mark. Hello and welcome, guys, to another beautiful sunny day here at Making a Mark. I am joined, as always, not as always, when she's available, when she's not globetrotting and luxuriating with her family in Hawaii, Ashley Ulmer.
Hey, yeah, like I was telling you off screen, literally, like traveling to Hawaii is so exhausting. Like it's so much fun, but we're still like my time clock is still so off. Like it's nuts.
Yeah, I've heard the jet lag can be quite brutal.
Yeah. I think it was a combination. Well, because like we left here and then we went to my in-laws in Vegas. So that's an hour difference, which is not that big. But then we stayed there for 4 days, went to Hawaii for 4 days, which is 4 hours difference. And then back to Vegas, which again is 1 hour difference. And then we came home here. And all the while, like when we left, there was a time change here. So like all the time is just I've just lost all time sense.
Time is an illusion.
Yeah,
you're living the rock and roll dream. Actually, you show up in like, what city is it? What time is it? Hello, right? Cleveland. That whole deal. Did you have a good time though? That seemed like a great.
It was so cool.
It's like a 2-week deal, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was 10 days, but yeah, it was great. I mean, like traveling and being away for that long, like just being away from work, but then just your home, like in general, like I had to like figure out all of our animals, like who's taking care of them. So it's stressful, but it's so fun. Like we had such a good time. So I'm so glad we got to do that. It was great.
I had to lock in the dragon tamer and the chicken wizard, right?
Yeah. Well, my dad takes care of them, so that's fine. But still, it's just a lot. But
yeah, I believe it. So yeah, we want to try something new on the pod, the show, the sode today.
Yeah.
Does anybody abbreviate episode to sode? Because I think that we should do that.
Pod.
It's a new sode on the pod, boys and girls. So what we're going to be doing today is show and tell, which classic Josh. I'm over here trying to like over engineer things. Like we literally named the show Making a Mark, like behind the scenes, peek behind the curtain. And they're like, we have a new segment we need to name. And like, why don't we come up with more names for stuff that are redundant and mean exactly the same thing as the name of the show?
Right.
But the people on Instagram voted. They loved show and tell as the segment title. And as you guys who have been with us for a while know, like we're always tinkering, we're always playing, we're always messing with the recipe here, just having fun. Because like we've talked about, how do we integrate more like live on screen elements into the show and still want to have guests, still want to do other stuff? Is this going to become an ongoing deal? Is it a one-time crazy thing? Who knows? But this is what we're doing today. And so what Ashley and I are going to do is kind of take apart some projects we've done. Just kind of like work a little bit on screen, on camera, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And just kind of peel back the curtain a bit and catch up because we haven't seen each other in like way too long. So yeah, it's time.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited to kind of hold on. And I apologize, my kids are home today. I feel like my kids' school, they like for whatever reason like love to take days off, and it always happens to be when we're doing the podcast, and okay. Like they're always home all the time. So
quick aside, that is my daughter's, and if there's a teacher of like a pre-K thing listening to this, please email me and explain to me why y'all need so many breaks compared to like elementary school teachers or like normal school. Like normal school has some breaks built in, right?
Right.
My daughter, she's like, we pay for a little like Mother's Morning Out programs, like 4 days a week. And they will have like a holiday and then schedule a like teacher work day.
Yeah.
The like Monday following a holiday.
Right.
And like my son is going to school still. And she's like, you know what? It's hard to get back in the swing of things after that long break we had. Yeah. We need another quick break to like, just kind of warm up slow and ease on into the work week. And I'm like, bro, for some people, like we're flexible, we can make it work. For some people, that is wildly disruptive. Like all of the universe is going back to work, and nope, I got to take a sick day because, wow, man, I got heated out of
No, it makes
nowhere.
no, for real, I get so pissed about it. Like, I
It's
really
like,
do.
what are you doing?
Right. And I
I
mean,
have the same break as you. I have to work too, and maybe I'm just completely clueless as to
right.
the demands of prep work at pre-K.
Yeah.
But
Right. And I mean, I mean, but they have a small school and we love their school. It's great. It's just, sometimes it's like we pay for the school and then they take a lot of like teacher days and stuff. But also I
yes,
understand because it is such a small school, they don't have like the resources to get subs all the time and stuff. So I mean, I get it.
yeah.
So it's fine, but anyway, so I apologize if it's noisy.
Yeah, don't even get me started on like the month of December when we take half the month off, and then like your kid gets sick for 2 days, and then they're done till like the middle of January. You're like, I've paid for 2 months of education. My kid has been out of this house 4 times.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we can
Adam,
talk about
Adam's feeling
schooling
the
all
pain
day.
on babies on the podcast. That
That's
is a
funny.
classic one. Well, cool. Well, you got some projects you wanna kind of unpack for
Yeah.
us, right?
Yeah. So, should I go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah, share it up.
So I feel like this is like one of those episodes, like if you're not tuning in live, it's not really going to make a lot of sense. So I
Oh,
apologize to
I'll make it make
after
sense.
after
I'm
listeners.
gonna I'm gonna be the visually impaired closed caption. I don't know
There
what
you
you would
go.
call that, but I'm just gonna describe
Visually.
everything on your screen.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Cool. So let me do that then. So okay, share screen. All right. I have to talk through what I'm doing. Okay.
it's okay. It's for the
Window.
podcast
All right.
experience.
Okay. So now I'm picking which window I want to share. I don't want to share like
Mom,
my
press start.
password. All
Programs.
right. There we go.
Excel.
Can you see? You can see my
We did
my
it.
Illustrator? Okay, cool.
Podcast. We're looking at a Adobe Illustrator artboard with a lot of different things on it.
So I thought I would bring up the original like
The OG
V1
making a mark
of
stuff.
making a mark. Yeah. So as you can see, I don't know. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to like see the process behind like how I build things out in Illustrator. Like I don't know about you, but like I don't use layers in Illustrator. Like, do you ever use layers?
I think there are two kinds of people that use layers in illustrators. One are like high detail illustration people, where like if you've got, I mean, like any of the prints in my office, where there truly is like 60,000 items in the artboard,
Yeah.
like you're gonna go, like it's gonna be a sad time if you don't use layers, right?
Yeah.
And group number two are just utter psychopaths. Like I don't think that normal people use layers in Illustrator. I'm gonna die on that hill. Please email your complaints to hello@brightcoal.com and Rebecca will forward them to me and I will fight you in the street. No layers in Illustrator.
No, I literally like I mean, so I thought it'd be kind of cool just to even show you how like things are built out. So I literally like when I go like make something, say for instance, like this making a mark, I literally just like if I need to select something, I'm using direct select tool. Like everything's just plopped on each other. I don't ever open my
Yep.
layers panel. Like I
You do
always
that. You do that hard Command Shift
yeah.
bracket. Like bring it
Yep.
all the way to the front. Send it
Yep.
all the way to the back.
Exactly. That's all I
That's
do.
the-
I don't
or hit it
I
like 60 times.
yeah, I use Illustrator to avoid layers. Like I don't like layers. I don't want to use them. I understand in Photoshop the thought of it,
Yeah,
but
sure.
literally like I don't know about you, but I legitimately don't open Photoshop ever.
Nope.
Like I
Mock-ups
maybe open
only.
it once a month maybe, like depending on what I'm working on, but like never. Like I do everything in Illustrator. Um
Yeah, if you open up my Photoshop, you know it's got like the recent files or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
All of mine are mock-ups or like quick photo touch-ups or like cutting things out, like trying to make a transparent background on something.
Yeah.
Because I grew up, I started in Photoshop, but I just
Sure.
love Illustrator. And I don't know
Oh
about if
yeah.
this is true for you too, but like it really helps me spatially, like seeing things extend off of the artboard, like what
Yeah.
you've got right here. Like I can look at an inspiration piece on the left and know that like I'm working on elements and I'll bring them into the actual design.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I just love that. It feels like you're like sitting at a table and like you can make a little
Right.
mess and then choose what like makes prime time. And you don't
Right.
have that in Photoshop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly my thing too. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess like the type of um pieces I'm creating too, and you too, is like everything's vector based anyway. So it's like there's no reason for me to go into Photoshop. Like for instance, I was working on some stuff for Sunday Social, and they always, I mean, I know you've done stuff for Sunday Social as well, right? Like some
Yep.
pieces. And they always want everything outputted into Photoshop just so that users can go in and change the text and stuff.
Yeah.
But legitimately, like I was exporting, I think it was 10 files I did, and I just sent it to him yesterday. But it took me so long to export them, and they
It's
weren't even
annoying.
that big of files. But I'm like, why is this taking so long? But it's just Photoshop is, I don't know, it's just such an annoyance to me. But anyway, that's
Well, we're definitely team Vector over here on making a mark, but I know there's
yeah.
a lot of people that disagree. But Ashley,
Yeah.
I know we're only like 10 minutes in, and this episode could totally flop. But
Eh,
boy, I'm having a great time. I am a
we're
huge
having
fan
fun. It's fine.
of this style of episode already, and we're just now getting into
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know. I thought I would show like the original.
Yeah, let's talk about the arts here. So
Yeah.
I
So
see
like,
we went through a couple of different color waves. You guys will notice this looks slightly different than what we landed on. But let's go look at the inspiration pieces.
yeah. So like this was a big one that both you and I really liked.
Yep,
Um,
yep. This is
and so
like a
this is like the main guy that I was like kind of modeling it after. And I was looking at this, I'm like, dang, this looks like a super old poster, but actually it's not, it wasn't. Like I think it's actually
oh,
they
that's
just
definitely
modeled it
a
after old.
remake.
Yeah. Which is super
But
cool.
because I mean, like when we were prepping for this stuff, we said we really want faces and doodles were like the two things we wanted to focus on because
Yeah.
like that's we wanted to be a little raw, a little bit fun, have some crazy messy stuff going on,
Yeah.
but then like people are the show. Like I mean, it's us, it's the guests, and so like we knew that that was a big element. So we started pulling inspiration that did those things well. I think I
Right.
was originally going a little bit more like sloppy, drippy, messy kind of vibe, which there's definitely some notes of that in here.
Yeah.
And you were thinking a little retro, and so I don't know. It is super fun to collaborate on stuff though because you
Oh
get these
yeah.
unexpected things out of it. But like yeah, immediately when you sent me this, I was like, yes, this is money. I think we had a couple of edits
Yeah. So like even
like
looking at like I know we ended up changing you changed the little icon of the
oh yeah
M,
yeah,
and
which
then
we
we took
never
off
ever
all the
use. I was
yeah,
like, we're gonna need an icon, and we only use our faces all
never
the time.
happened. Yeah. And then on the little like tagline, and then I know we took off podcast as well.
Which this is zoom in on the podcast deal right there. This is something that's great. Like that's a Kern Club font, isn't it?
Yeah. It's
This is
what is
what's
it?
great to me about these
Area.
like super funky like display types is they have so much personality and are like, nah, screw it. Like let's just have some fun. But
Yeah.
then you run into situations like this where that reads at a distance, poo cast. You know what I'm saying? Like it's blurring the
Really?
lines of legibility. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I'm crazy. Y'all let me
That's
know
funny.
if
I
I'm
mean,
off my rocker, but
I guess I could see that. Like if I'm not looking at it, I don't know, because I guess if when you make something, you're
it's
seeing
that
it through a different way.
it's that quick skim.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Poocast. We should
Uh,
have called it the
podcast
Poocast,
listeners, I was whipping my head back and forth when I made the whoosh sound.
the swish.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's we love a good Kern Club. I'm pretty sure all these fonts are from Kern Club.
love a good
I'm
poop
like,
club. You know what I would 100% do if Kern
wow.
Club had like a $5 a month subscription. I'd be all over that.
Oh, heck yeah. That'd be sweet.
And like I think that there's something cool about like how inexpensive their stuff is. They got some free stuff in there,
Yeah.
but it also feels like oh, this is like where the designers are like riffing on little like funky ideas, and you can like play
Yeah.
with the scraps kind of thing.
Right. Right. I will say though, like I was like, I'll show you in a minute, like these mock brands I was making last night, but I went on like Adobe fonts, which I like. I mean, I have a lot of Adobe fonts, but I don't ever go like peruse the library of Adobe
Oh,
fonts. Like,
you gotta peruse. You gotta do it
no,
sometimes.
I did last night and I was so amazed. I found so many good fonts. Like I was so excited because like, I don't know. I
It's
just never
it's
go there.
fascinating to me too though because there's some real losers on there.
Yeah.
there's some big fat bummer of a fonts on there, and
Real.
you're like, on the one hand, you're like, holy crap, they've got all of Ono Typeco's, like basically like the whole lineup in there, which is
Yeah.
dope because those are nice stuff. And I mean, we had homie on the pod a few episodes ago,
Yeah.
and like tons of respect, great dude. Actually, yeah, both of them. Fort Foundry is also in Adobe Type,
That's cool.
but it like you got great stuff in there, and then like some of those like household name fonts, and then you have some you're like, how who approved this? Like, you know, it was bought in some kind of like huge license like pack of
Yeah.
like 1,000
Yeah.
fonts, but it's like, this is the specimens, like the little samples, like look very very bad. Why
Yeah.
would you even like
Whose
anyway?
job is that? Like, what a cool job that would be. Like, you work for Adobe and your whole thing is like you are the
You're the
buyer of
gatekeeper.
fonts. Like, you like go find, artists like
Uh,
Ono and stuff and like, oh yeah, this guy would be cool. Let's
no,
work
it's
out a deal with
it's
him.
it's definitely less sexy than you're thinking. It's not like you're like out there like globe trotting like Indiana
Your
Jones
business
collecting
suit.
the cool fonts. You're not doing that. What you're doing is like arguing with lawyers and agents, and people are pursuing you and like, please, sir, take my ugly font. And you're like, ah, we've already let
Yeah,
enough ugly
please
fonts in. That's
take my
that's what that
crown.
life is like.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I don't know. But
All right,
that
so
would be
this
cool.
this is different colors than back to the design here. This is like a little like Christmas edition almost with the red and green.
Yeah.
Where's the where's the how do we land on
I
final colors?
so I think I
Yo, I
did
like
this
that
this
blue and
guy.
pink one.
Yeah. No, this one was my favorite. I don't know if you remember that. This was my favorite, but then we both really liked the Hannah Montana colors. So we ended up going with Hannah Montana.
Well, now I'm sick of Hannah Montana. Season 4, we're going with the blue and
The blue
pink.
and the pink.
That'd have
Yeah.
been sick.
Yeah. I really like the yellowy green.
That puppy jumps.
And that I used to be like not a fan of, I mean, this is a side note, but I used to like hate royal blue. Like, but for whatever reason, the last like 2 years, I'm like obsessed with like this deep,
Isn't
like
that crazy
bright
how that
blue, like
works?
electric blue. It's so good.
Yeah, I
Um,
would assume like people that care about like their clothing a lot go through the same thing. I don't.
yeah,
But like for me, yeah, it's the same thing. Like there's stuff that like you would not catch me dead messing with those colors or that palette style back in the day.
yeah,
And then now I'm like using it all the time. But there are some that I always struggle, like especially if the client's like, hey, we really, really, really want to use like crimson, right? Or like rust
crimson.
brown.
Yeah,
Or like there's just some colors I'm like,
yeah,
don't like it.
right,
Don't want
right.
to use it. But
Please,
then
yeah.
then
I
you
mean,
get some like interesting things out of there too, though.
yeah, for sure. No, I love a good rust or like browns and like brown hues. I do dig that, but um, yeah, but I don't know. I loved this blue and the pink and yellow and everything. And these colors actually came from this inspo you sent me from some of my work.
Wow,
With
I
the
did
blue
so
and the
good with
pink.
that. Those are great.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that yeah. Zoom in on that puppy. That's what this could have been, gang. You could have been stuck with Josh's original like ultra stripped down thing. So much less fun. Holy crap! I'm glad we didn't do that.
yeah.
Wow.
But then this one, you sent this color
Yeah, it was
scheme as
like the
well. And this
alternate
was
one.
from something else I made. I don't remember what it was. I think
Mhm.
that's where you got these colors, but maybe not. Maybe you totally made this up, the color scheme. But I mean, but looking at it, like looking at them like this, I definitely think the Hannah Montana is stronger than looking at it right here. I don't know. I mean, I think we made the right choice with the colors.
Maybe.
I think
I
I
just get
think
itchy
this
bones
one,
sometimes. I'm ready to
yeah,
scratch and move and
we
shake
can
some
always
things up.
yeah, we can always shake it up. I think this one we made the best decision because I think our faces pop better
Ah,
on the
this is
honey
the
edge
adult
color.
choice.
Yeah, versus this one, it kind of it's like one of those. I don't remember what the term is, but it kind of like makes your eyes like kind of like
It's a lot.
ting a little bit. What's that? What's that? There's like a phrase for that. Like a certain
I
color.
like that tingly eyes.
You know what I'm talking about though? Like you see it and it makes you like kind of like your eyes feel kind of weird. This one does that a little bit, but I
Can we
almost
get a
don't
neurologist to
mind.
please tell us what that term is? Because, man, I would love to know. But
Tingy
until then,
eyes.
I'm going to use tingle eyes.
Yeah, tingle eyes. Yeah, there's an actual term for it because when I worked for an agency, a lot of times I would make things like that and I didn't even think of it. And my art director at the time, she's like, "Oh no, that's a something something color."
No, that's a tingle eye.
It's tingly eye. You're giving me tingly eye.
You're giving me tingle eye.
You're making my eye twitch. It hurts.
We got bubble guts and tingle eye. That's
Yeah.
a no go.
I mean, it is the poo cast. You know what I mean?
The
So
poo cast.
right. Anyway, so that's the making a mark, thing. So this one, out of all the work I have up, this kind of has the most like inspiration pieces on the artboard. But usually I kind of work on my artboard, but for the most part, like 99% of things I'm actually building on the artboard, and I just literally delete and hide or whatever. That way. So I don't know.
Your board is still cleaner than my stuff. We'll look at some of mine in a little bit, but like this is still like fairly consolidated. I'll also bring in, I'm a big context guy, so I'll bring in like 30 inspiration pieces, and you've got like 3 here.
Yeah.
And you used all 3, like those the ones that you needed, but I'm just like, what if I run out of ideas? I need to see all the notes from all the client meetings. But
yeah. I usually like with my inspiration pieces, I find them on Pinterest, and I actually usually don't paste them on the artboard. I usually just reference, like I like click over and then click back, click over, click back.
Nope.
I don't know.
That's illegal.
It depends
because you know what happens is for me anyway, and I'll literally screenshot client notes, and I'll bring the client email photograph into Illustrator. That way I'm not tempted to go check other emails. Actually, let me share this with you. This is I don't know how illegal this is to share like client work here, but we're crazy. We're crazy. Oh wait, I gotta remove this from the stream before I can do it. Stop screen. Start screen.
So right now Josh is changing, just for the hearing impaired or visually impaired. He's changing the screen, and so we're now viewing Josh's screen instead of mine, and we're on his project folder.
Ashley, why have we not done this before? Like, I feel like we're out here like scouring the earth for like wonderful personalities, and meanwhile, God's greatest blessing for our lives was sitting right here in front of us. This is,
I mean, we are the greatest personalities.
We're interviewing each other on this episode, and I'm having a ball. All right, so this is, if you guys missed it, for whatever reason, again, like the dumbest things I've ever posted are the things that blow up on my reels. When I say blow up, I mean it got 1,000 more likes or 1,000 more views than the other video. I've never gone like quote unquote viral. But one of them, it was me unboxing some coffee, nothing to do with my craft, not helpful at all for my business. And the other one was me explaining how I name my files. So if you guys missed that, that is on an Instagram reel, like the methodology behind how do we get to this point. Got my export thing where I send final stuff. But then as soon as somebody asks for changes, I'd create a round 2 folder, and I'll include I'll create a separate artboard, and I will bring in like whatever they reference. So this is like literally their emails. They're like, we like how much personality this thing has, but this thing feels more grown up, like it'll last longer. And this is our favorite, but it looks kind of boring. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Got it.
So those are their original pieces that you just showed. Those are the
yes. No. Well, I should back up. So this is round 2. This is what I sent them.
Oh, I see. So that's what you created. I see. Okay.
I sent them this sheet. And kind of this one's a little bit broader than I normally do for flash sheets, like because it's a smaller church. I knew they needed some help in a pinch, and
cool.
And yeah,
the peace sign one is so good though. Like that's so cool.
Yeah, isn't that fun? That was their idea. They were like, "Hey, we want like a V for Vida Real."
Yeah, what is that? What does Vida Real mean?
I think it means real life.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. That's awesome.
So church of real life, or real life church.
Okay.
And that's always a scary one, because like I know some Spanish, but not a ton. And so anytime I've got Hispanic churches or ministries or clients coming in, I'm like, hey, you got to double check me. Like, am I doing anything crazy dumb here? And so I started messing, like they're like, this feels fun, but it's too playful. Anyway, so I've got like all these notes over here, and actually didn't leave anything on the artboard for some reason. I was like, oh, what if we mess with like the Puerto Rican flag, and started looking at how do we do some more like elegant stuff, because it's so funny the things that trip you up. Like these 2 words do not stack well at all.
Right.
And so I'm like, and like there was no clear like storyline to tell. But I was like, this thing is just oozing personality.
Yeah.
Super
It
nice.
almost reminds me of like a campaign, like a someone
Shh,
who's running
don't
for
say that.
like governor.
Shh, they approved it. Don't say that.
No, it's cool.
I
I like
I
it.
also
It
didn't.
reminds me of that.
I took the bars out for that reason because I was like, this feels too much like a flag.
Yeah.
So why did I not show the? That was round. Here's round two. So this is like
Cool.
what I sent them, and they're like, yes, this is it. And I
Whenever
still
you
need to clean
send,
up some stuff.
like a flash sheet to a client, are you always sending everything in black and white first, and then you guys will go work on colors, or do you ever send anything in color to them?
No, and that's the nature of the flash sheet. The way I've structured those is it is the best way to get it's the best way for me to like crank out some ideas for somebody and not charge an arm and a leg. Like it's a way like, hey Josh, like we want you, but like the way I describe it for folks is it may not be exactly what you imagined, but it's going to be custom and it's going to be professional. And so
Sure.
it's a sheet of 6 to 10 things, usually in the same neighborhood of style. What I just showed you is a bad example of that because I intentionally was like, they got to see a couple things to, like, they got one shot to get their main church logo done, but it's a very small church. Budget was a big deal, but
Oh, I see.
and so yeah, so by definition, the flash sheet is single color. We're not looking at colors. We're not having meetings. I'm literally just like cranking out a sheet of stuff and send it over, and I'll work through some minor tweaks, but like you kind of get what you get.
Oh, you get what you get. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
that's kind of the thought behind those.
Oh, that's cool.
But I'm always a softie. It's what happens when you like your client. So I will usually go above and beyond on
Yeah.
change rounds. But I just like to define scope because if you don't, like, people don't know when you're doing them a favor, and you're over here getting like more like steamy and grumbly, and they're just like, hey, can I say one more thing real quick?
Yeah. Yeah.
And most people don't want to like burn you or like screw you over, but it's just helpful to define
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff.
Just so they know. Yeah. That's for sure. Yeah. That's helpful for sure.
Hey, let me say this real loud and clear. I'm being a nice guy right now, doing you a huge favor. So I sign off on those emails. They love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Appreciate it.
thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
Please.
You're so kind.
That's funny. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. Do you want me to
Yeah, shoot. Take it
go
back.
over?
Take it back. Show me
how
some more
how do you
things.
add to stream again? Okay. Cool. So let's go back. We'll talk to you about making a mark more. Just kidding. No, we'll move on to the next one.
We'll do this again next week. We'll talk about the cover art some more.
So I have a few different things, and I wanted. So actually, this is just me being like, I don't know. So there was a project I worked on last year that I was so pumped about. And we've talked about this in the past, not this particular project, but where you are so pumped about something and they approve it, they pay for it, and they just never use it.
They don't use it. Yes.
Yeah. So this is one of those things. And I just wanted to say it because I will never stop shouting how excited I was about this project. And I thought it'd be kind of cool so you could see the artboards that I did. So this was, okay, first of all, this was for Hawthorne Heights last year. I created some pieces for them. They bought
Wait, the band?
The band, yes.
What?
I sent them 3. They picked one. So this third round,
That's
I sent them 3 options. They paid for this one. They have yet to use it, which I'm kind of bummed about. So I don't know if they ever will. Probably not. I doubt it. But
because then you're like psyched on the design, but you're also excited. Like it's Hawthorne Heights, or it's like someone who people have maybe ever heard of, and like that's got its own level of deal. I've got an exact same thing that I'll share since you're sharing your dangerous work over here.
But anyway, I just thought because, well, first of all, like this girl was my absolute. This is probably one of my favorite pieces I've ever made, like ever. Like
with the cassette tape.
Yeah,
podcast. This is an emo girl with spiderweb tattoos, and she's doing a little arm thing like this, which you also can't see. She's holding a little cassette tape, and she's got words wrapping around her head.
So it's based on the song Nikki FM, which is like, I don't know, basically the song is like he made a mixtape for her. And so she's holding the mixtape that says Nikki FM on it. And I was like so excited about that. And I was like really hoping they would pick this one, but they was a flop. So
you know where I would have gone with that?
Where?
And this is where I love, like, you ask a designer, 100 designers with the same question, you're going to get 100 different answers.
Yeah.
And it would be, I think, really hard to pull off, but like have the tape like unspooled and have it be her hair.
That'd be so cool.
And so it's like real messy, like whatever. I think yours will definitely like sell more shirts.
Well, I mean, obviously not. They didn't want it, so it's not selling anything. Nobody's buying it.
It'll sell more shirts in heaven, where all things are made new and restored. But there you go.
Anyway, so I just thought it was kind of like, so like as you can see, Like how I
Oh,
build things, it's literally just like
dude.
outlines and like just everything is just doodled on itself, like layers on layers on. And but I'm not using layers, like layers that are not being used. And
Those
they're
lips
literally
are
just
good.
shapes and doodles and like, putting things behind each other and above each other. That's just how I
Bro,
build things.
kudos to you. Like I know like I don't know, like your that hand and those lips and nose are real nice.
Well,
You like
thanks.
crushed that puppy. Like
That's
hands are
my,
super hard for
they
all of
are.
us fledgling illustrators.
I have to have a reference for hands always. Like I cannot do, hands without a reference. But like I don't know about you, but like when I first like learned how to design or like anything like Photoshop and stuff, I built everything, and this is how I still see things is in shapes. So like I would build like I would so like say if I was making a shirt design, I would literally build everything using the shape tools and then cutting and slicing into those shapes. So I don't know if
Oh,
that's how you
100%.
see it, but like so for instance, like this girl's face is just literally just like a blob. And then like
Mhm.
I layer on top another blob of hair and then another blob of
Hair
eye
blob.
or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's all just weird shapes, but
Oh,
they come
1000%.
out because they're layered on top of each other. So I don't know. I always find that pretty cool. And then obviously once you export it, then I'm going to clean up all these outlines and make it,
So I
printable. But
feel like you and I are in this in a similar boat of like you're better at certain little pieces or like types of style. But like overall, you and I are in the same boat of like we can kind of freehand draw. And so much of this is us like it's like I feel like the generation before us um like went to art school, knows how to draw, is more comfortable on paper, and then they'll
yeah,
come translate in Illustrator.
yeah,
And then like we were like started digital, and then I'm starting to like build backwards and like learn how to draw,
yeah,
getting into like kind of tossing the thing back and forth. But we get into this really like weird like hybrid model of design.
right.
Um,
Which I actually have a good example of that. So like you said, I draw everything. So okay, I mean we've talked about this, but like little fact about me is I'm left-handed. I draw left-handed on paper. I write left-handed, but I draw everything right-handed on my laptop, like on my trackpad. And so I've just kind of like I trained my right hand to draw. So I'm actually stronger in illustrating things with my right hand versus
what?
drawing freehand. Does that make sense?
Yo, yeah, that's crazy. And I've got a similar ish thing that is way less interesting. But like I had a
Yeah, I
Wacom.
did too. Yeah, a long time ago.
And I
Wacom.
got to where I was like, okay, like I feel comfortable drawing. I feel comfortable with the Wacom. I spent a year, oh, not a year, geez, a month, like getting warmed up to where I knew it wasn't a like learning curve thing.
Yeah.
And then I switched back to just using the mouse. Like I'm constantly drawing stuff with a Mighty Mouse, which is
Okay.
not ergonomic, not super like, I don't know. It's just as like you get good at whatever
Yeah,
you do the most, right? And so there's a
exactly.
lot of projects where I'm doing freehand elements on iPad and then finishing and like tossing it back and forth and kind of doodling in both. But
Right. Yeah, I think
it's a
it kind
weird
of depends. So
process.
like so for instance, I'll hop over to this one real quick. Actually, not that guy, this one. So
Don't
for
look,
instance,
podcast. Don't look yet.
you
Okay.
can look now. So this
What we're
this
seeing
guy,
is a scorpion
a
that
scorpion.
with sick detail and hearts on its back.
So this I
And
drew in Procreate and then I imported it into Illustrator and just traced it. So like
yep,
you
yep.
can see the different style, but obviously this one's just an outline versus going back to that girl and it's, shaped and filled and I don't know. So I just think
I
I'm
could smell
stronger
that.
in this. What's that?
I could smell the different process there. I actually did assume that the scorpion when I saw it in your social post, like it was in Illustrator, but yeah, I can see the Procreate action.
Right. I mean, because I just got my iPad for Christmas. So like I'm still
Oh,
like
okay.
learning it. So like even how
Isn't
to
it
do
fun though?
it's super fun, yeah, to doodle and stuff. But I feel like for client work, I've used it maybe
You'll
four
you'll get
times
you'll
so
get over
far.
that.
Yeah. So like I'm still like much more comfortable in Illustrator doing illustrating on my trackpad. Um, but I don't know. It's just kind of a
No, dog.
funny thing. But
Zoom in on that puppy, on that scorpion. Scorpy boy. Yeah, that's pretty clean, Ash.
so I mean, like, so it's literally image trace. Like I just brought it in, image trace it. So obviously there's like some lines that are not super clean and stuff, but that's how I wanted it. I wanted it to look like
Yep.
hand
Little
drawn.
bit
So
blobby.
like, yeah. But actually the original in Procreate, I feel
That's
like I like better because he's
of
like a
course.
little more, I don't know. But
All right,
just
so here's a product idea for somebody out there. I would pay $250 for a better version of Image Trace. Like if it's a third party plugin or like some whole other app or software
yeah.
that literally like just does a better job like reading details in an illustration. I'm not even talking about like picking up sketch textures and stuff, but like vectorizing like line art. Like I feel like why is that not more of a priority? Because that is there's like 4 tools, like my desert island tools in Illustrator, like pen tool, type, an image trace, and like making shapes, and like you could kind of keep everything else. Although I will say, have you messed much with the new 3D tools?
A little bit, but I don't
Bruh.
know. I think I just
It's
need to
also
like,
not.
it's not super fun to me. Like I don't know. I like it, but it's not like, I don't know, my style of art very much. So like I'll
Yeah,
use
that's
it a
what I was
little
about to
bit
say.
like I'll use it for like for instance, I'll draw a heart and then make it look like it's like bubbled. So it's like, a ballooned looking heart, but I'm not going to like, I don't know. I just don't really, I don't know. And it takes a long time. It's like it takes forever for it to like load, and I don't know. It's just not my thing.
Wait, are you using the updated version?
Yeah.
Because it used to be like quite difficult to the point where I was like,
Oh,
this is borderline like not usable.
yeah. It was stupid.
And like I was actually on another video call today and was working on client stuff, and I was like, this is delightful and fast and like rendering in real time, and it's not like some kind of weird wireframe model. Like is
Yeah.
I'm impressed. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's talk about your scorpion sheet here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like I was telling you off the call. So literally on okay, so like I've always like make stuff for Instagram and I'll just post it just for fun, whatever. So I
Zoom
did
in on
that.
that bad boy.
I made one. Actually, I don't have it up, but there was one I posted on Tuesday night. And it was just like for fun. Like I just made like a mock brand, no big deal. And I like, put like I posted it up and I'm like, oh yeah, this, if you want to buy this, buy it. Literally had 3 people within an hour say they wanted it. Like it was like a
Yeah.
little bidding war for a second there. So I was like, oh, that's cool. So then I was like, well, I'm going to try it again. So I made this one on Wednesday night, posted it up. First thing someone bought it. And I'm like, oh, that's
so
sick.
fun.
And so I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like these are like, because literally this took 15 minutes, like 15, 20 minutes. And it's not like,
And
I
the other thing is like it's kind of a sweet spot for you because you're driving the car. Like there's nobody saying like, hey, Ashley, I want something with a like you can make whatever brave choices, and it was a fun exercise for you even if nobody buys it.
Right. And I think that's like my thing is
I
a
like
lot of
that.
times I get kind of pigeonholed, and like things I post on my Instagram are things that I like, which are like, cutesy like illustrations or whatever. But a lot of times that doesn't translate to clients. It'll more so translate to like shares, like people will share it or whatever, which is good. But the ultimate thing is I want to gain clients from this. And I was like, well, I need to start posting work that I want. Yeah. Like work that I want to get. So then I'm like, well, why don't I start making these little like mock things that just take few minutes. I mean, it's not like it's like the most quality brand you'll ever find, but like, for shirt design.
But it does say quality.
It does. It does say it's quality brand goods. So, I mean,
Podcast, that was
quality.
a joke, a visual joke, because one of the words does say quality.
Yes. If you can't see, it does say that. But, yeah. But anyway, so I've just been doing that. And I made another one last night, like 15, 20 minutes. That's what this guy is, like more so like a coffee shop thing.
Moonbeam.
And this one was with all the cool Adobe fonts that I found last night. Like I was obsessed with the fonts I found.
I see that Minofa up there.
Yeah, which I don't even know which one's which. Which one's
I always
Minofa?
assume Moon, I think is.
Moon.
Am I a good guesser?
Yep, you're right. Yep.
Boom,
yep.
sucker. Boom. Come at me with them font names. I will name them all.
So I never seen that font before. And it's so cool. Like I loved it. And then I loved this friggin' alkaline I found. And then this one Espiritu. I don't know. Whatever. But I was like, I could just design this just based on the fonts and then just add these little elements. I don't know, but no one's bought this one yet. So we'll see if it might be a flop, but whatever. I'm like, it's fun. Just make it 15, 20 minute little thing. And it's like an exercise for me. And if somebody buys it, that's cool. And if not, then, whatever.
Can I ask how much are you doing them like auction based or like a flat rate or what?
I just say whoever buys it. Oh yeah, no, it's a flat rate. but whoever like
What's the rate?
the last two I've sold for $250.
Nice.
15-minute little
an
like
appropriate like type of price for a pre-made deal. Like
that's what I'm
it's
saying.
custom. You get to keep it. You had
Only
fun with it and
one.
didn't spend a ton of time. Like that makes a ton of sense for
Yeah.
you, Ash.
Because I'm like, they can use these for shirt designs, which normally, that's almost the cost of one shirt design. You know what I mean? So like, I'm
Yeah.
like, well, it's worth it. And again, for me, there's no harm, no
There's no
foul.
changes, or you can upcharge for changes if you want to.
Yeah, well, I tell them they can change the color or obviously the wording, like obviously because for their brand, whatever. But
Right.
like as far as changing the illustrations and stuff, no, like it's just a flat thing.
That could get slightly sticky if somebody's like, hey, it's not our name. I want to buy Moonbeam, but our name is Helsinki Death Club Coffee, and you're like, well,
that's the thing. That's my only like thing. I'm like, well, but then at the same time, I'm like,
dang,
well,
I need to go buy
I'll
that
change it.
domain though. Helsinki Death Club Coffee. That could be
Yeah, there you go.
That sounds like a very indie title album cover name.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. But anyway, I don't know. It's just a fun like exercise on my end, but we'll see. I don't know. I might keep doing it. I might not. But
Ash, you know what else is beautiful about this? You need please like push hard in this thing. Because what else is like, I think that your audience, the way that they interact with you, like they're like, ooh, cool, cute, and like save it as inspo or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I have this sneaking suspicion that a lot of times they're just ripping your work and they're not actually like hiring somebody and they don't want to go through a design process.
100%.
But having a like library of, hey, every week, I take on some client work as I want to, but I really am posting 4 of these a week.
Mm-hmm.
And you've just got like a big shop full of them.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't sell, you can discount. Like, and that's a quick fix too. There's no turn time. People aren't like having to wait 3 eons like they do for my stuff. Like they're just like, I want it today.
Yeah.
I have it today.
And I mean, that's kind of like I remember we talked about this with, who was on the podcast that talked about it? I don't know.
Trace with the
Isaiah,
sprints.
maybe Isaiah. No, we talked about like, I feel like a lot of what I create is commodity based as far as like not long, like, so I don't know, like I have a lot of products or I make things for products or, for people like stuff that people are selling. Like I do a lot of like commoditized design. So I think that this model will kind of work for me just because I have a shop and, I don't know.
And you enjoy it, right?
Oh yeah, heck yes.
Because like half of the joy for me is like solving the client puzzle. Like I enjoy, like don't get me wrong, like sometimes meetings are exhausting, but I literally enjoy meeting new people and like figuring out what weird problem we have to solve together, and don't like making things that might not get used.
Right. Right.
But that's me. That's not,
Right.
So I think this could be money. I really hope it goes well for you.
Yeah.
You need to check out Joey Pringle. Have you seen him?
No.
Let's pull him up on the screen.
Okay.
He has a fascinating
do I stop sharing my
model.
screen? I don't know what to do.
Should
I stop sharing?
Yeah, I'll pull it up here in a second.
Okay. Joey Pringle. I like the last name.
If we just got like super good at actually running the mechanics of this show by the end of season 3, that'd be wild.
Yeah.
But we're just
with
gonna
our new color scheme, and we'll be just like
fumbling on through. This is not him.
Cool.
Wonderful.
Like,
good job, Josh. Joey Pringle. Joel Pringle. Okay. So
that's a different.
He needs to rebrand his name.
Oh yeah. Kidding. I love that.
All right, so he's got a great little style. He's definitely in kind of like a niche lane here, right?
Yeah,
like,
heck yeah.
There's some common ground between the things we're seeing. Homie for a while was like living on a boat, like sailing about the universe with his wife, and like riding jet skis and just kind of nomading it up.
Yeah.
But he'll sell these sheets, which if you really like laser focus on them, like there's a lot of like common ground between them.
Sure.
So like he's reusing some concepts for sure.
Sure. Yeah.
But people love it. He's crushing. He stays busy, and it's a really clear like bite-sized business model like this.
Yeah.
So he's maybe he's updated his site. Oh, poop. Did he update it? He changed it. So it used to be. Oh, here it is. Yeah, you choose your favorite from a page. So he'll send you this page for $200.
Sure.
You can pick your favorite, or you can buy the whole set for $400 total.
Okay.
And so he is still taking a client intake form,
sure,
and then just running in his lane, cranking out his type of stuff. and he has small changes for another $100. So you could be in $500 for a sheet of stuff, or you could be $200 if you like. You just really need something
Yeah.
quick, and he's got like a productized system. It's great. And that's kind of like another variation of what you're talking about here. And
Yeah.
what's
I
in his
love that.
store? Feminine logos. What the heck?
That's cool. Like he has them already like by. See, that's cool.
Oh, this must be like an SEO purchase here. Gang, if you want to
Oh,
go to Joel Pringle, joelpringle.com.au is the what we're looking at here.
oh,
I'll drop it down in the show notes, but maybe if I remember. Anyway, yeah.
yeah.
So
Heck yeah.
he is proving that some variation of what you're describing works.
Yeah, for sure.
And like he has bought a house off of it, and is like he is always posting about like how he's living the dream and like making money doing it. And I think
Yeah,
he's their main breadwinner in that crew, but I don't know.
that's sweet. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I don't know how long you're wanting to chat today, but we can start looking at your page.
I think we'll
I have
just
a
go
few other
forever.
things.
We'll just not
Yeah, just
stop.
talk forever. Yeah. I have one more. I'll just share one more because
Yeah, let's do it.
I brought this one up because this is my favorite style of work to work on. And again, just kind of just to see how I build.
Ooh, Cuphead.
Yes. So he's he's a Pokeball.
Oh
And
yes.
he's
Well, I was
similar.
referencing the video game called Cuphead.
Yes, he is. So you know what's funny though is I made this guy. I just literally illustrated him, sent him to my my buddy Robert, who I work with, and he's like, "Oh, that's like Cuphead." And I was like, "What's Cuphead?" Like I didn't
Yeah.
know
You
what
hadn't- yeah,
Cuphead
yeah.
was, and I'm like, "What the heck?" And then I looked at it. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it is very similar." But I was like, "Well, shoot, I'd never even seen Cuphead before."
Well, and
Um,
that's one of those weird things where you get into like when is it plagiarism versus when is it just dog like it's an art style, you know? Like
yeah,
this is an art style that Cuphead has resurrected.
right.
And you have been doing your little like notch in the eyes thing and that style of art for a long time.
It's like yeah, it's like almost like a Steamboat Willie
Yeah,
era.
like is it 50? No, that was
50s?
before the 50s. Like 30s level
Yeah, like a
design, like
vintagey.
animation.
Yes, little vintagey little eye guy. But anyway, I wanted to show how freaking messy this guy is. What's that?
You get some little halftone patterns
Yeah,
and
but
like
you can
textures
see
in there.
how messy this guy is. Like I literally just have like a blob cover. Like if I ungroup it, like that's how I build things. So like if I
Don't do
hide this
that.
guy, it's just like poop under there. But once I output it, then I'll like clean it all up and everything like that. But I don't know. That's just like
Yeah,
I
when
just literally
you're
build.
sending the concept over, you're like, I'm not going through all that messy work. But so would you
No.
send them a single color version of this that you could like a transparent version?
Um, to look at well, so this was designed originally for a shirt. So I actually mocked it up
Oh,
on a shirt. So this is their shirt they have like in store right now. But this new one they wanted it for a hat. So I mocked him up on a hat and stuff like that. So this is what I would send him on the mock, and then I would probably send him a few versions of different colors just so he could see it. But I wouldn't send it transparent right now because if I send it transparent, it would literally look like that. You know what I mean? Like
that's
it
what
would
I'm
be,
saying. Like that feels like that's a whole lot of work to get to that
uh-huh.
point. Some projects you can get away with not doing it, but I always have like this neurotic like this thing needs to be one solid single color shape. Like
Yeah.
no monkey business, but that's not always what's needed for the project.
Yeah. And I mean, once like we outputted it for print, like that guy, he's transparent. And like, so he's all half toned out and, the little half tones in his cheeks and stuff like that, or, whatever. But I don't
Bro, that's
know.
another thing that I get super self-conscious and like I'm constantly second guessing myself on is shading. Like I love the little stipple dot style texture shading stuff.
Yeah.
And I've seen people do it. I'm like, I can do this. I've got stipple brushes. I can do it manually, whatever.
Yeah.
Mechanically, it is not that hard to like do. But I'm always just like, is this too much? Is this not enough? I shaded these parts of the thing. Do I need to shade that part too? And
Yeah.
then you
Yeah.
end up like getting in this overthinking thing until there's just a billion dots on the screen.
Which
And
I
I say,
don't think like,
this is too much. And I delete all of it and just run with the
just
clean
do it. Yeah.
lines.
It's flat. Yeah. See, I love a good stipple or stiple or however you say it. But I usually just literally
Welcome to the world of graphic design, where we don't know how to say any of the
staple,
techniques,
staple,
font names, or color names. We just everybody's out here making it up as we go.
right? But I
Astute.
literally just what's that? Astute.
So
What's astute?
Rise in the comments talking about astute graphics. Is that the I think I've heard of this, and I have looked at. We'll pull them up and see if it's the same thing. Yeah, I have been recommended this type of stuff, and I have considered them. But my thing is, I'm looking at like the stuff that it does. Yeah, I've looked heavily into this. So
What
it
is
would be
it?
like, hey, you've got a. I mean, some of this stuff I just feel like Adobe, like the things that I care most about, Adobe like makes it irrelevant because it says auto savior. It automatically saves your files and does backups. Like between Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Cloud and Dropbox, like it's already doing all those things, right?
Yeah,
Keyboard shortcut panel. That's kind of cool, but also like I've been doing this for 10 years and I have all the things that I use all the time memorized.
yeah.
Um Again, alignment is already in Illustrator.
Really
Like
quick
I could
side note.
shoot
What's your like top 3 keyboard shortcuts that you use most?
Command Z, duh.
Well, yeah, but besides Command Z and Command S or whatever. Like I'm
Oh
saying, like
man,
shortcuts.
I'll tell you a weird one that because I think there's so many of them that I don't even think about. Like, um, ooh, instant symmetry might not be bad though. I don't know.
Photo or Illustrator has that though. They have
Yeah.
mirror.
So this is where, and like I've even heard like there's an export like export logo files, but I looked at what it does and it said this cranks out a ton of things that I don't need, and I'm supposed to label all these things, and then it'll automatically create the artboards. And I'm like, it is as tedious to go like set it up so that the robot can read it as it would be for
Hmm.
me to just go make the artboards. Like I'm very fast at exporting files.
Yeah.
This is creating things that I don't need or use. So
Hmm.
there's my colossal chart on astute graphics.
Chart.
Rise, but that's someone who hasn't on outside looking in. Really smart people love it and use it. Some like OG industry veterans love it, but I have a sneaking suspicion they love it because they grew up in Illustrator that didn't have it, and so
Sure.
now that's
They're
how
used to it.
that's their workaround, and they don't use the new Illustrator functions. But
Yeah.
a lot
I
of
mean, well,
assumptions
like
baked into that.
I mean, I grew up in that generation too. I've never heard of Astute until just now.
Yeah.
Anyway, top 3
Keyboard
keyboard
shortcuts.
shortcuts.
So probably like tools that I'm using a lot. Obviously, I use pen tool. I use N for like I like I get frustrated with the brush because
Pencil.
like yeah, I use pencil over
I don't
brush
use brush. I
typically.
don't like brush. I like pencil.
I like brush if I'm like writing a note to myself or something, or I
I
just
just
like need
don't
to fill something in.
I don't like brush because I don't like how what's the word? It like it
The
doesn't
stroke.
it yeah, the stroke you can't really cut like change it. Like, you can pencil, but then also this is like I feel like this is such a like a nerdy graphic design
Oh, it's
conversation
for
right
sure the nerdiest episode so far, for
But
sure.
also, I don't like how brush like automatically smooths it out, whereas pencil gives you like it can give you like the integrity of what you actually drew more so, but you can also change the integrity of the line in pencil. I just like pencil because it's just more customizable, I guess.
I use those both a lot.
Yeah.
And for different situations. But one shortcut that I programmed into Illustrator that I use constantly is Command Shift K. It's what you use in Photoshop to change your text to all caps.
Oh, cool.
And so you'll like write out your thing or whatever, and then you like Command Shift K, and it'll all uppercase.
Like
And that's it.
you would select all the text and then hit that, or you just hit it and it'll just do it.
I feel like you're overcomplicating this thought, but I will show
Like,
you.
do you have to do Command A and then Shift Command K, or is it just
So like no, like you have text, and this is a terrible example because it's already
that's like a all caps font?
Verica. All right, that's fine. Hobo is fine.
I love hobo.
I do too. I do too.
I do. It reminds me of like 80s like truckers or something. I don't know. I just love it.
You know, another thing that's funny that we could also spend a real weedsy episode on is
Fonts.
your Illustrator layout.
Oh, never mind.
and like where all your little like crap is and how often you use things. Like so much of this
Oh,
stuff I
yeah.
never touch, and it's just been that way since like day one of designing. It's like a warm blanket.
No,
Got to
mine's
make
just
sure I
like
have
literally
that
chaos. Like mine is like,
libraries thing available and ready for when I never use it.
do you leave all of those open all the time? Like you just don't
What
mess
you
with
see
them?
right here is me a ton of the time. Back when I was using my Wacom tablet, I used McFloaty
McFloaty.
because oh geez, it's not set up for the screen.
What's McFloaty? What's that?
I named it,
Oh, okay. I
but
thought
it's
that was like an
basically
actual term. I'm like, what does McFloaty mean?
I don't know. I don't know. This is like I would have like some of these boxes that I use a ton floating on the artboard rather than like off to the sides because
Yeah.
when you're moving your whole arm to go like select stuff, it was just using a lot. I was spending a lot of time like going super far across the screen with the pen.
Oh, okay.
All right, so Command Shift K, boom.
Okay, so you have to have the
I
text
just
select.
selected whatever the text was,
Okay.
and
Do you
it
use
does it.
whenever you're typing things in Illustrator, do you do text box or you just
Bing
straight up
bong.
start?
No,
I never use text box. I hate text box. I mean,
hate.
unless it's like a lot of text,
Yeah, but
obviously.
that's usually like an InDesign situation. Here's what I will
Oh,
say. Oh no, wait,
InDesign
I'm a
is
freaking
worse.
liar. I do use it.
Every time.
I'm a big fat liar. All right, so look, here's podcast. This is Josh's level of inspiration. So I took a bunch of
Yeah.
notes from our meeting. I've got these organized specifically so there's like muscle memory. This is
Cool.
usually like context about the client, things they like less are on the far left,
Okay.
colors are down bottom middle. And then I will like really force the conversation into, okay, what's your favorite stuff? And put that close to the artboard. And then like, this is what it needs to feel like. Here's the actual like text to make sure I've got all that correct. And then I'll like mess around with type. So when I go do like a sprint to start off a project, and this I highly recommend. I don't care what your process is. I will
Hmm.
go if I know, hey, I'm working on Youth Summit today, sometime 2-3 days beforehand, or maybe the night before, I will go spend 30 minutes in sprint and I will create this artboard. I'll pull in all the inspiration, reread it twice. I will go ahead and start typing out and just like pulling in fonts that have the right like tone or emotion. I'll
Yeah,
start
for
like
sure.
pulling down colors that I think could maybe work, and I will go set up this little dude. And this is what got me over here. And I'll pull like text from, especially if I'm using, if I'm picking fonts for them, like if we're building like a
Yeah,
whole brand guide, and
sure.
I will go ahead and just have like myriad, like just whatever base level thing. So it's one less thing when I'm actually in creation mode that I'm like, oh, what text should I use here? I've already pulled stuff from their website or from the brief that just now needs to be styled.
Yeah.
And so like my brain just like without thinking, I know what part of the board I'm going to for different stuff. And then time permitting, I'll go through and like go and Procreate and sketch out some ideas. And like again, like what it does is it just gets your brain activated to like thinking about that project when you're in the shower, when you're driving kids to school, whatever else.
Sure.
And then when you sit down, you're like ready to go. You've already done some of the like low hanging fruit ideas. You know what we're asking for because like there's a kind of a big, for me anyway, energy and like mental shift from setting up an artboard to I need to now have a good idea and start playing with stuff. So like I want to get all those barriers out of the way so I can just like get in and crush when it's time. And that has saved my freaking bacon this week because I have been so busy that I've had moments where it's like you have to go start to finish on XYZ project in 2 hours and you don't have a lot of times I'll have baked in like flex time like hey, this is where I can catch up on the things that I missed or this
Yeah.
idea wasn't working. I've had no margin this week. And so doing this has allowed me to just get in and just like crush some stuff along the way. And for the
Right.
most part, we're doing good.
So, like, are you okay? Well, first of all, I just want to say I apologize for keep muting because literally my kids are like screaming downstairs, and I don't know, I don't know if you saw me. I muted myself, and I'm literally like
No,
screaming.
you're good.
Have them shut up.
You're good. I will
But
talk by myself for limitless amounts of time.
but no, like, so this, like, everything how you're showing me, like, all these different sections of like how you kind of think through things. Are you literally like every time you start a project, you have this like base file or whatever, and you bring it up and you like build out each of the elements in place? Like, do you have like a system as far as that goes, or every single time you're creating it and then you're pasting in your, brand targets board and all that stuff every single time?
Well, heck, let's do that. We can talk about some of these other projects next time. Let's do a sprint on this episode.
Okay.
So I had a great mood meeting with um a group or a guy called American Met. It's not his name. I don't know why I said it that way. It's a brand called American Metal, and we had our mood meeting together. I've got a ton of notes. And
Are they like an actual metal company, or do they make metal music?
So it's a killer concept, and I didn't sign an NDA, but please, no one don't go talk about the town about this. I don't know if he's trying to keep it under wraps or not.
Oh, sure.
It's a sick concept. He says, we're nobody is going into blue collar jobs, and he's trying to like make that cool again in a certain way. And he's like he's this guy's done like he's a great photographer, and he's done stuff for like Wrangler and Filson and like Carhartt and like all these brands. Like he knows that
Cool.
world. And he says, I'm going to start clothing company that like the proceeds support stuff for basically like, people to go to welding school that have never thought about that as a career opportunity, or people to like,
Cool.
go become an electrician because there's money to be made. It's great work. And
Yeah.
there's no reason to go to, like, you got to go to trade school. But anyway,
Yeah.
killer
That's
concept.
cool.
It's always fun to work on projects where you care about the people you're working with, you enjoy being around them, and like the concept is cool, or it's like a rich idea.
Yeah.
So I'll
Heck
do
yeah.
this 2880 by 2160 size. That's a 4:3 ratio, which is kind of like old school. I switched a while
Okay.
back from doing the widescreen because I was never pitching on a TV screen after I started working from home.
Yeah.
And so much of the time I'm doing what I'm doing right now, which you're wasting a ton of real estate. I wanted more of like a square, like a rectangle shape to be on
Sure.
screen as I'm doing video sharing. So that's kind of the reason there. And I'll say American Metal concept lowercase. And I know it all, like usually if I see lowercase concept, like I know that's a rough file.
Yeah.
Then I go find American Metal, save that mother. Okay. Boom. So we got our squeaky clean little artboard. And then I will pull in my mood meeting notes. Right click, open with Adobe Illustrator. American woman. Gonna set him free.
So,
American
people not
woman.
watching, basically, we're looking at Josh's screen right now, and he's pasting in some different elements to start the concepts for his client, American Metal.
I wish you would also repeat everything I say as if the clients are deaf. So
They're
Josh
deaf?
is now
Really?
walking us through our
Is
deaf
that how you
podcast
do that? No,
audience.
but that wouldn't work. If they're deaf, I would be doing the ASL.
Sign language.
Yeah.
We gotta figure out how to make this show completely palatable for everybody.
Yeah.
All right, so this guy's a photographer, so he had a ton of like great context and like started with just like
Cool.
the right mood. And I remember
Are those
like
his
so
photos
this
that you just showed?
I don't
Or
think
those
so.
just like, oh, okay.
It's just stuff that captures the zone. That is the type of stuff he shoots though.
Oh, okay.
And so like some of this stuff, like I'm taking these notes in the meeting, like we love a badge, but these are all starting to look the same. So I'm like knowing,
Yeah.
okay, even if I don't use this concept, his notes about this style will help me if I
Yeah.
start going down that road. Like,
You know what's
is this
funny
going to be
is that warped concept right there that you have. I've used that for inspiration for something.
Isn't it wild, the ones that
And
pop
you know
up like
what?
over and over again?
I feel like I honestly used that for something I did with Vive. So maybe it was something that you had
No way. It probably
That,
is from
like-
one of my boards.
or something, because I've definitely like referenced that piece before.
All right, so this last one I just pulled up was like an important note that he said that wasn't related to a visual. And so I know that's going top middle of my little deal. Because I'm kind of like organizing things based on like how I use the information.
Yeah.
These are all like middle of the road ideas, so they're going to the middle of the board. These guys are cool, but not whatever. Sorry, we did have a good gravy. There's a ton of notes from this one. And so normally if I was doing this not in a podcast setting, I would be
Yeah.
reading these things and like
Okay.
soaking in the information and remembering what we talked about.
Yeah.
And like this one's got some color notes in it, so I'll put that down here. And great little refresher, because sometimes like we have a killer meeting, and I've also got the memory of a goldfish already, but we'll have a great meeting, and then it can be a second before I actually get to touch the project again.
Yeah.
And so I
Sure.
use that as a refresher time. And sometimes it's crazy too. Like you're in the moment, you're running a meeting, you're processing information differently than if I'm realizing that all the hotkeys that I'm using right now I use all the time. So switching between tabs is a big one for me.
Okay.
Command apostrophe or whatever.
Hmm.
So that's very interesting, Josh. Tell me more.
That's so cool.
Um, wow, honey,
Just
that's
kidding. No, but
great.
that
So
is,
like,
I did
like your
ask you
mom,
that.
like that's great, baby. That's so
Wow,
special.
cool.
You're
That's
you're
great.
very good at Illustrator.
Um, no, it's really interesting to see how you do this. And even like just because I've, obviously I've seen like a little bit behind the scenes as far as how you even work as far as building brands, just because when I did work with you at
Force
Vive,
fed you that process at Vive.
yeah, like I I like had to do that. And so, which is, great, but it's
Which
like
is so
way more.
great.
I mean, it's like really cool, but like for me, no, I'm just kidding. No, but like for real, like when I but also like we're different though. Like your bread and butter and what you focus on is branding, and like that's like your jam. Whereas I
Holy
do
crap.
branding, but I also do a lot of other things. So like when
Yeah,
I'm
this
talking
is
to a
way
client,
overkill for a t-shirt.
right. But when I'm talking to a client, even if it is branding, I like when we do a call, I'm just literally physically writing notes in my notebook. And
Yeah.
that's where I keep everything. So like when I'm referencing back, if I lose my notebook, I'm screwed. Like it's like written down on my paper, and then I'll go in when I'm building out, I'm literally just going in and building it, and then I send them the concepts, and then we do changes or whatever. But even like going through your file system, like because I watched your reel, like that's so meticulous, like, and it's super genius because like mine is literally like I mean, the only organization I have for my files is literally alphabetically, but that's it. But like one, like, and then the way I do files, like if I'm doing a second round, I name everything version 1, version 2, version 3, and it's
Mm-hmm.
all in the same folder. Exports are in the same folder. Like it's all just, it's not as cool of a thing. But anyway,
Yeah, I think what
rambling.
you just described is one of the reasons like everybody kind of finds their little like angle and like types of stuff. Like you might prefer more bite-sized projects and like less intensity, whereas I would find myself naturally when I was, working at an agency or doing other stuff, I was naturally like over engineering things and
Mm,
like taking too long to do them, exploring too many directions, which does
yeah.
not work well for, certain types of like work environments or types of projects. Like
Yeah.
it's you're losing money if you're thinking too much about it. Um,
First of
whereas
all, can I just say when you're writing out metal, I thought you meant like metal. That's why I said metal. Like I thought you meant like he was a metal company, like selling.
podcast listeners actually cannot read. So
No,
just
this is
just
before you
kidding.
spelled it out. I can read because I can read it now. So now I know what you're saying, metal. But I thought you meant like
Me
metal,
no read good.
metal.
Draw picture instead.
I'm actually really good at spelling. That's like my one like thing in school I was good at was
I'm like
spelling,
a
but everything
great
else,
speller, so
I'm like really good at
if you
spelling.
need me to
But other
spell
than
stuff
that,
for you, I will do that.
anything else, no, I can't do.
All right, so
Um,
I'm gonna not gonna go too far down that road, but that's another thing I'll do is I'll like immediately sprint. Like even if I'm gonna do a hand lettered piece or whatever, I'm gonna
yeah,
go up here and like try and quickly explore the style of type that like
yeah,
fits the brand target, like adjectives and like some of the other things we talked about.
yeah,
And I know based on what we talked about, this one's gonna have some heavy like lettering stuff, and I need to go pull out the iPad and go do some work on that. But one thing
sure,
I'll do too is um, go ahead and have like whatever his like catchphrase is, which usually he says. I think it was like prove him wrong or something. Um, and then this is where I will use my thing, my what's it called, the text box, which is infuriating. You know, it is like a dumb feature in Illustrator is when you got your type tool
yeah,
and you want to wrap your text. You want to use the like text on the what's it called? type on a path.
Sure.
And why is that not the default thing? Instead, it's like, oh, were you trying to fill that circle with a paragraph of
Oh yeah.
text?
Yeah.
Like, dear God, no,
No, no one
no.
does that ever.
It's like, dog, that's. I guarantee you that's like just a carryover feature from ye olden day when that
Oh
was
yeah.
kind of an element of design and there was 6 features in here.
Right. Right.
Um, so sometimes too, depending on the context, I will go ahead and make like a button style too.
Okay.
Shop now. Buy American. You won't regret it. You ever mess with Adult Swim?
No, but actually we were just talking to our kids about Adult Swim the other day because they saw something. They're like, "Can we watch that?" I'm like, "No, you can never ever
No.
see Adult Swim." No. So no, I mean when I was a kid I saw South Park or whatever, but no, I don't watch Adult Swim.
Man, I'm a sucker for an animated adult TV show. Like I love some King of the Hill from back in
Oh
the day.
yeah,
That's like one of the OGs.
sure. King of the
Like
Hill's
some of them are
hilarious.
obviously a little out there, but man, I'm down for a bizarre animated show too. Like there's some weird ones out there.
Yeah.
If you're ever in the mood to just get unsettled, go watch Midnight Gospel on Netflix. It's like
Okay.
a podcast with some of the trippiest animation you've ever seen. It's like
Weird.
there's two concurrent stories going on. One is what the podcast people are saying, like he's interviewing somebody and they're going like really deep into some weird topic. But then there is a scene playing out animated
Weird.
that has nothing to do with what they're talking about. And so it's almost like you're watching TV with a friend. It's
Huh.
kind of the sensation, and it is
The
both the
sensation.
visual, the visual and the thing you're listening to are some of the most bizarre and fascinating things you've ever heard too. Because it's not
Weird.
like, I don't know, I don't really know how to describe it. Like it's very like acid trippy type of
Sure.
animation, but there's like characters moving around and like melting and like shooting each other with guns, whatever. But then
Weird.
like what they're talking about is like types of meditation or like, hey, like it's actually not as like dirty and gross as people think it is to be around a dead body. Dead bodies are actually really sanitary because like the gross things that get you sick that people do are like the fluids that come out of your body and like your breathing and stuff. As soon as you die, all that stops. And for
The show
like,
just took like such a turn. Like, what are we talking about right now?
we are unfettered.
Talking
We're
about
talking-
human bodily function and when you die. What?
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's gonna be a wrap for today, guys.
No, but
yeah,
it's super interesting to see like your process, how you do
You
that.
crazy kitty cat. I'm wild.
Yeah. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens or whatever it's called.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, man, I had to like resist the urge to like start. I was doing a podcast with Trace Garner during that phase of life, and I really had to resist the urge to not join every single podcast episode with that line.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Yeah. I've never
Can't
said
do
that
it.
before until just now. So that's the first time.
I'm over here feeling froggy, and it's rubbing off on you.
Awesome. No, but this is fun. And we actually,
Yeah,
the app Neil said this is the best episode by far. So
that's all the validation I needed
Yeah,
is
that's all
one
we
person
need,
to
just
say they
one
kind of
person.
enjoyed it. Locked and loaded forever, baby.
yeah, this is just the format from here on out. No, but no, it was
No,
cool.
it's great.
It's definitely cool to see the behind the scenes of how things are made. And actually, full disclosure, I was going to share a project I'm currently working on, which is a children's book. I've talked about this because I've been working on it for months now. But
yeah.
I was going to do that because literally that would be a good example because the art boards are insane in there because they're literally just doodles and because they're like little kids. So I'm like drawing little kids, but some of them look really creepy because they're just like little like blobs. And like I was going to show it, but then I was like, well, I probably shouldn't yet because I don't think she wants it out yet until like I
Yeah.
don't think she wants anybody to know about it, which I know like we don't have like a huge like people watching live and stuff, but still I just was like, I don't know, she might not want me sharing it. But
Beauty of
whenever
the small
it's done.
stage flying under the radar.
Yeah, but maybe whenever
people always
it's
trying to
done.
get famous, but as soon as you get famous, you get haters and you get non-disclosure agreements and sued
Yeah.
and stuff. Like,
Yeah,
no, dog.
totes.
Let's keep it a little small.
Totally.
Awesome, Ashley. This was a blast.
Yeah, heck yeah.
I think we'll definitely do this again. And one of the things we talked about, Adam. So glad you enjoyed it as well.
Totally
Rise.
kind of liked it.
totally kind of liked it. Yeah, Adam is a videographer and photographer, and so he's like, "This is so cool to hear y'all talking about like all this very in-depth Photoshop stuff that I never do."
That's
Thanks,
not
guys.
interesting to me. That's funny.
No,
Totally kinda
one of
like
the
that.
ideas we kicked around though is like what if we did today's talk and like literally like Ashley's working on a project or like we'll flip flop back and forth or Josh is working on a project and Ashley is interviewing and so we'll have a guest on while one of us is getting work done on screen. So we're like having a mix of get to know you's talk with um you know laying down some funk on the track too.
Yeah. And when we do that, is it going to be like where if you're working or I'm working, we're literally just not even listening to the conversation, or we're just listening in and still kind of talking, but just working? Because I feel like that's going to be
Oh,
hard for me to
you
focus.
best believe I'm gonna talk and work. I'm not gonna hesitate to speak up
Okay,
if I
because
got
I
something to
might
say.
like it's the same thing like when we do our doodle. Like I can't really. It's hard for me to talk and draw at the same time. So we'll see. So I
No,
might be kind of quiet when I'm working.
well, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, like I will talk incessantly. So as long as we have one other person that will respond to me while I'm working, while you're working, then we can carry a conversation. I love how we're like planning the episode on the episode. This
I
is
mean, why
lovely.
not? It's,
You know
right.
what's gonna be crazy though? I don't think I told you this, but we have Josh Noom. He's confirmed.
Cool.
You don't know
When?
who that is, do you?
No, I do. I do.
Oh,
Yeah, Josh
okay. I
and
was
you?
expecting a little
Yeah.
more reaction because I was like
Well, no,
hyped
that's
when he
cool. I'm
responded. You're
excited.
like, oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Well,
Okay, okay.
cool. No, honestly, the
Uh,
out of every guest we've
where's the
had,
energy, Ashley? Come
well,
on.
I want to be like full transparent. Out of all the guests we've had, the one I was the most pumped about was Cool Carl because I think he's so freaking funny. But it was weird because he's not like in real life. He's a lot more calm.
Mm-hmm.
But he explained that because it's like a character he puts on.
This is Austin.
But yeah,
You can't be
that was
you
fun.
can't be Carl all day. It's
Yeah,
a
but I
lot.
mean, it makes sense. That'd be draining. But yeah, he was
But
who I was probably most pumped to talk to be honest.
well, fine. You book the guest then, Ashley.
I mean, like
Listen,
just who you're booking, I really don't even care to talk
it's
to you
kind
or
of
anything.
whatever.
But
No,
just kidding. No, Josh Newman
what
was
is gonna
sick.
be wild if we get down this road and we're like, okay, cool, we got a new rhythm. We are following that format, and then like I'm literally asking people that I look up to, and I'm like, oh, these are like the heroes that I want to meet, and then for me to be like working while like in this example, like Josh Noom is on the show, and I'm like, "Ooh, let me design a cool
Yeah.
graphic for
Hey,
somebody, and he's like, hey mate, that's terrible.
yeah. I know.
Is
Yeah, I
he
feel like there's.
Australian or is he British? I think he's
I have
Australian.
no idea. I
He's
don't
got
know
a
that much
sick
about him.
accent though.
Okay, I don't like. I don't. No, I don't even know. I've seen his work. I don't know. Like I've never seen him, the person. So I don't know. I have no idea.
Why are you like this, Ashley?
I don't know.
Why?
I'm just. I don't know.
And that's gonna be a wrap for today, guys. We love y'all. See y'all. I think next week we got to see about Ashley's dog
I
situation.
mean, yeah, we're getting a new dog, so we're gonna see. Awesome.
Peace out, pups.
Yeah.